What's up, YouTube? HPJ here, and today we're going to be talking about some new Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Primarily one that has been sitting on my mind for a minute, and um, I kind of don't have nothing positive to say about this because there was a lot of hope first. Then there was some testing. I've seen a lot of the people's builds trying to use this monster. Nah, I'm sorry. It's real hype, but she's not that good. So this is Winnie, the Wynn Channeler. I keep calling her Charmer, but that's because she is always treated as a Charmer card. In the OCG, she's known as Winnie the Wynn Medium. She is a level 5 Wynn attribute spellcaster type monster. 1850 attack, 1500 defense. This card is always treated as a Charmer card. You can discard this card and one other Wynn monster. Add one Wynn monster from your deck with 15 or less defense to your hand, except for Winnie the Wynn Channeler. Also, you can activate monster effects for the rest of the turn, except for Wynn monsters. When a Wynn monster you control is destroyed at battle, while this card is in your hand, you can just summon this card. You can only use each effect of Winnie the Wynn Channeler once per turn. So, Winnie is trying to be a combination of Tempest, the Dragon Ruler of Storms, and Witch of the Black Wars. Being able to search for a monster with 15 or less defense and add it to your hand, while on your effect of discarding itself in a Wynn monster to do said action. Now, in certain aspects of it, we're going to start off with her own archetype. Winnie, as a Charmer card, or as a Familiar Possessed setup, is going to be very lackluster because the targets that she has kind of have better search cards for her. And also putting them on 2D. Now, I'm not saying that a search isn't bad, but the problem with this monster is that it's going to relegate you to Wynn, and the Charmers need more than just Wynn to actually do a lot of their own, corresponding effects, dealing with a lot of effects, and then just trying to build up their field. So, yeah, she's going to be a big miss for them. I was thinking of hand traps. She can search for Droll and Lockbird. Problem is, Droll and Lockbird is mostly a card that you would want to use on your opponent's turn, and if it's your turn, or unless you are going first, you're minusing 2 to have a hand of 3, and then at that point, unless your deck's anti-meta, this kind of just was a waste of time. I'm sorry, it's going to be a waste of time to search for Joel and Lockbird, because then at that point, your opponent's saying, okay, well, I can't add any cards from my deck to my hand. Okay, well, I just do a whole bunch of synchro summoning with the cards that I have together, and then just such something like crazy. So, like, Joel is good for some situations, but is Joel really going to be worth making your hand go from 5 to 2? Well, 5 to 3. And always, of course, because this is a search monster, Ash Blossom and Joyous Springs will always be this card's downfall. Actually, any card that negates monster effects will always be this downfall. And remember, this effect is a cost, not a condition, not an effect. It's a cost. So, you better hope that corresponding monster has an effect additional to it. Now, I did have a surplus of the Wynn archetypes that could potentially use this, some a little more than others, and then I just had some feelings about that overall. Now, this card can search for 2 big hitters. One of them is Garuda the Wind Spirit. As we all know, Garuda is a great extender for Wynn because it's a banish, then it summons itself to the field. That's a level 4. Um, Level 4, rank 4 plays. You can go into some link plays. There are a lot of new cards surfacing, like the Tri Brigade, that can help with banishing cards, like getting a lot of those monsters back to the field, as long as they're Beast Warrior or Winning Beast. So, a good search for Garuda isn't bad. It's just that on some situations, that if there are other cards that can already search for Garuda, which I don't think there are too many, then winning would be the option. But also at a point of, you know, Garuda's just the extender. What am I going to do with the other cards? Did I discard something with Winnie to search that has its own abilities when it triggers to the graveyard? and then I can understand it then and combine it with Garuda to extend. One card I definitely don't think you should search for with it is Very Session Stormwind unless you have some work already on the field. But here's the thing, some work can already do that. And also some work can get Avion, which at that point, yeah, it's not really that resourceful at that. You might as well just go get something else. Or have some other abilities. Also, let's speak up some more. Some more a good portion of some more cards could be searched thanks to Winnie. Thing is, Onslaught exists. And if Onslaught didn't exist, Winnie kind of would have been a little beneficial. If you did want to extend it to some place, like let's say you did run Garuda and some more, and you wanted to get some outlet benefit, that could possibly work there. Um, just the downside to that is that these guys are always going to be able to banish themselves. The tribute fodder is real, and then most of these big guys are not winged. They're dark. And because of that, you want the big guys that are dark to hit the board. And I think because of how end phase works, Sovereignty won't be able to get them. Because they're not winded to that. I actually kind of also said that this was one of the weak points of this archetype. Because they don't have any low level monsters. And they don't have any monsters that treat themselves, that are wind monsters that treat themselves as dark monsters. So, yeah. It's kind of sad to say that. Then there's Wind Witch. Now, Wind Witch could be paired really well with her. I think that's primarily because of how Ice Spell works. Like, if you can first turn, discard, go into Ice Spell, go get Winter, go get Glass, go get Snow. Then you can go and Link Climb, either synchroing into Clear Wing into Crystal Wing, or Winter Belt into Clear Wing. Crystal Wing. Then that way, you can do a lot of that there. So I would not knock Wind Witch as the option, but that is something to look into if you're going to build there. Being able to search for Terra Top in Teki 10 board, well, not Teki 10 board, you want that in the deck, but you do want this monster in your hand as soon as possible, which I think could work. I don't know how Speedroids really play. I would assume Speedroids have some advantages if it does come to it. But I figured just to drop the Speedroid setup in here because I think because of where Teki 10 board is with Terra Top, I know a lot of people say this is the Garnet of the Speedroid setup, and this isn't. This is the tour guide. So you want your tour guide, but not your Garnet in case. Dragonities would have been an option if Dragon's Ravine didn't exist, and also Stantis didn't exist, because she can't search for Stantis, but she can search for Ducks. Thing is, Ducks got needs monsters in the grave, so unless she did have one of the Dragonities to do that, it didn't work. She could work with Mistletoe, drop Mistletoe, search for Mistletoe, because I know Mistletoe has 15 defense, and then you can search for, you can set your stuff up there, but like I said, she's going to have to need a tuner to do that. At least because how Dragonities play. And most Dragonity decks do want to go into their red eyes. They want to get their extensions going. And she limits them because they're not winning. Which is sad, unfortunately. And then I know that there is that big situation that they can use a Tempest too. So it's kind of just null and void her. And then there's the argument of, well, there's Harpies. And I know some people are going to be screaming, hey, CJ, she can work well with Harpies because she can discard and then search for Channeler. Okay, but then what if, you better hope the other two cards in your hand are Harpie cards. Because you're going to need that. You're also going to have to hope it's Egotist also, or it's Sign. Then, even though you can go into some more, let's also just take into account that the other cards that can negate Channeler do still exist. You can search for a Perfumer, maybe as a recall setup. You can discard Carpus to do the search for either of these two. But then also at that point, you better hope that the Wynn setup is going to be strong enough to deal some damage. Because you're going to have to play on some extends in order to really get that going and to say it was okay for Channeler or Perfumer to, for the discard of Winnie plus another Wynn monster to get into either of these two. I was also thinking maybe it's Oracle, but then also that has its own niche there, and it really does depend on how the build is to set that up. I'm still not an advocate for it in Harpies because I'm like a lot of people. I'm not minusing 2 to get a 1 to hope that the other 2, 3 cards in hand can help do something. And because how the game state is now, in a lot of scenarios, if I get the barrier statue set up, I need some extenders right there. And I have to make sure it's extend because it has to extend. It has to have some flow to it. And I've seen a lot of current Harpie builds, none of them play around with her. And sorry, no one can justify that part. So, my overall opinion on this, just before it goes, like if you want to play her, go for it. Just don't expect to see me play her unless like we get a really good Harpie extender that can extend from the graveyard that doesn't have to wait to the end phase, or there is some beneficial stuff at that point. But no, I'm not a fan of Wynn. Like I said, she's okay, but a lot of things just unfortunately just have better material to use than she is. That's all. I mean, kudos to you if you're gonna run her. Just don't expect me to. And I'll try to sit there and be like, you can do this and this. No, because I've tried a lot of that. So, think ahead. And yeah, that just rounds out about this video for Winnie. Let me know in the comment section. Well, I think most of you are going to say in the comment section that you're going to be running Winnie. Which, like I said, kudos to you. Just, I'm not. And, do you think that, the other Charmers are going to get a similar card to this? Because they probably will. And do you think they'll be probably a lot better? Yeah. They got a lot of more searches. Sorry. It's not a lot of things positive for this. So, yeah, I'm going to go before it gets any worse. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And, of course, hit that notification bell when, you guys want to be, when I upload and you guys want to check those uploads out. Also, hit me up on social media because everything is A-OK and in the green. So, thanks, everybody, for watching, and I'll catch you next time. HPJ, signing out. Take care.